the one and only Lady Joan Crawford. So welcome back to my channel, Making Up the Magic. Yes, is it a real channel? I guess it is. And yeah, I'm sorry. I've been on Instagram again because it's just easier and it's less work than doing this. And yeah, so I'm here with Lady Joan Crawford. And she has been hanging around the last 2 years. So she's been sort of in and out. She's kind of floating in and around my home. I'm not being haunted, don't worry. It's not anything like that at all, at all. And yeah, I don't really look like from the 1950s. In case you're wondering, this is not a makeup tutorial. So if you're hoping to see some sort of makeupness, you're not. So you can just turn it off right now. If not, if you want something a bit spooky and witchy, because I am a witch, let's be honest. I am very witchy, and Joan is saying, so am I. I know Joan. I know I've seen the tapes. So I have a relationship with Joan Crawford, Lady Joan Crawford. I don't know why she likes to be called lady. She never in the US there's no such thing as in England, that you get knighted for services to your country. The US don't do that. They just give you an Oscar. She's saying I just got some Oscars. I've been having discussions with her. So she would like to say she likes to say I love my fans, and she's just really really happy that there are people still interested in her. You guys watching and people doing the sort of tribute videos. And she's really touched that people are keeping the memory of her work, her lifetime work. She's saying, my whole life was given to Hollywood and the movies and entertaining people. So she says, thank you so much. She's just uh she's feeling very emotional, and she's really happy from the other side. And in case you're asking, no, she hasn't come back. That was a lot to digest, and yeah, she's on the other side. She's watching y'all. Yeah, she's reminding me that she used to be Lucille, not Lucille. I'm getting all mixed up. Sorry. There's like a lot of people coming in here. Not Lucille Ball. Louise Le Sueur, and she says, French, right? She says, tell them what Le Sueur means. Le is like the, and Sueur means sweat. Her name is Louise the Sweat, the sweater, the, hard worker, go in there and use that elbow grease to grease and work hard. And she says, my life has been this life as Joan, she says, has been very, very hard. A lot of work. There were other people who got to have it easy. We won't name names here, she says. Greta Garbo. And she says Bette Davis, they got it a little bit more easy than I did. But you have to remember, she says, at the beginning of my career, I didn't even have a name. Like, I kept changing names. And yeah, that was really hard on me. And people didn't know, but some of my fans don't know. But if they've been watching the old, old shows, like Lucille Ball show. Yeah, that's why I was mentioning Lucille. Because Lucille was a good friend and she had me on, and I would use my Texas accent. I'm sorry, I'm not that good with a Texas accent, I'm doing my best. So she says, yeah, I was a poor little girl I was a poor little girl from Texas, and I went to Hollywood and I danced my way and sweat my way to the top. So yeah, that's all pretty much true. And yeah, I did, I did have affairs with men to help me out on the way, but it was a lot of work. She's like, it was a lot of work. So she says, there's one thing that a lot of channelers kind of haven't really gotten it right, she says. And I kind of want to settle the score. And she says, yes, I was not the most normal person in the world. No, I was not. I was a movie star. I was playing strange women, deranged women for your entertainment. And I just happened to be a great bitch. It was just, I could scream and I could shout and I could get all hussied up. But yeah, that was on screen. And yes, I was a little bit moody, and I did, hit one of my husbands. But I think, I think people misunderstood what was happening with my little girl, my baby. And I think today people would see through what she was doing. She's she wants me to tell you now. During the last 2 years, I've been out of work, and I've been watching very interesting women. One of them being Amber Heard, and the other one Meghan Markle. And not necessarily just watching them, but watching other people have opinions about them. And there are rumors, allegedly, that these women suffer from narcissistic personality. And she's saying, I'm afraid Christina is a narcissist. And she says, I don't know how to say it plainly or more matter-of-factly, but Christina, you have to understand, she grew up, with me being in front of cameras, and she saw it was a nice job, and she wanted to be famous like me, like mommy. Unfortunately, she didn't have what it took to be in front of the camera. She didn't have the passion. She didn't have the ethic of working. And when she saw that her efforts were falling flat, well, she decided that any way of getting into the limelight would be just about that anyway. And she knew that if she talked about me and she embellished it with some, well, if she embellished it with some untruths about how I was deranged and violent and just mad woman, basically, that she would get what she wanted, which was being in front of the camera. And yes, she did. She didn't get it. And just like many of the people around other narcissists, I ended up being a victim of the desperate climb, the unending climb to success. Yes, and now, of course, it was her word against mine, and I didn't really want to address it back then because I knew I was be opening a can of worms out of which I couldn't climb out of, because yes, I was at times, slightly violent, not completely abusive or, well, I wasn't abusive as Christina says I was, but I had my moments where I brought the characters into my home, which was not nice to the people that I was with. And those women that I played, yes, they seeped into my mind. And yeah, I was not very proud of that. Not my best moment. Yeah. And then, of course, when Christina did that, well, I had to survive. I had to keep on keeping on. There was just no other way of doing it. And yeah, so yes, there you go. I think finally we can put that to rest. I feel confident about it. Now, the second thing I want to address is Bette Davis. Ah, Betty. Oh, you were a brilliant, brilliant woman. Really, absolutely brilliant. Betty is all about Betty. And Betty's here. And she's laughing. Betty's kind of laughing, and she's like, okay, let's do this. So, oh, Betty. Betty also knew that these women that I was playing, I was not at all like these women. I was the most stuck-up, self-effacing woman, and Louise, the Schwer, was quite lowly. Joan, on the other hand, was a queen. And so when I lost my footing and I couldn't be Joan, I became Louise. And usually that was in conflicts and arguments. Betty is such a good marketer. And when I saw that what she was doing, spreading vicious rumors about me and her and our fights, well, I let it slide. I did. I realized that it was brilliant because it was just bringing in more money. And especially for that Whatever Happened to Baby Jane movie. Her marketing strategy was genius. And yes, we didn't always get along, but we weren't at each other's throats. No. But it was genius. It made us money. It was a good story. So what do you want me to do, huh? What do you want me to do? I mean, I'm sure now people don't really give a damn. I hope they don't. And it's just a very good story, kind of like Joan Collins and Linda Evans with their characters. Was it real? Was it not real? Nobody knows. And it's part of the entertainment of it all. There you go. Wow, I didn't think it was going to be like this. Joan is really settling scores She says, you bet I am. I'm settling scores. Because all of these things are things that we talked about over the last 2 years. So it's funny. It's just very matter of fact. Okay. She's saying last one. Last one? Really? Okay. Last one. She wants to talk about movies. Okay. She wants to talk about the business, the Hollywood business. Okay. So I like to put a disclaimer. All of these opinions are really Joan's opinions and not necessarily mine. Maybe some of them we do kind of connect with. No, I can't talk about her. Okay. She says movies are going down the dumps. I mean, they were going down the dumps when I was going down the dumps, unfortunately. But they just seem to be going further and further down the dumps, she says. And if there's any of you out there, any of yous out there, thinking of creating stories, movies, motion pictures, whatever it is that you're interested in, then forget about what's being put out right now. It is not worthy of Hollywood. It's not worthy of who we were. And it's just mind control. It's just unnecessary. Movies were about people working it out and trying to get somewhere with their lives and becoming better, improving who they are. I feel movies today encourage people to be boring, to stay where they are. I, Lucille LeSueur, a little girl from Texas, a raggedy little girl from Texas, made her way to Hollywood and became a grande dame of Hollywood. And that is an amazing story. And that is an inspirational story. People liked us because we came from nowhere. We were nobodies. And we became someone. Not that you have to become someone like that, but how can you improve who you are as a human being? How can you improve your conditions and your education and your manners and your speech and your looks without resorting to cheap tricks? How can you better yourself? Now that was what Hollywood was about. We created those people, those new versions of ourselves. Now whether you think those were fake or real, it doesn't really matter. Because I know that I was real. I was Lucille LeSueur, and I was Joan Crawford. And I was both of them at the same time. And as I got older, I felt compassion for myself. Because I didn't have those looks anymore, and I didn't have much of anything, really, of when I was younger. And I learned so much by being an older woman. It made me humble, very humble. And so I hope this inspires you to be whomever you want to be, whomever you decide you want to be, but be true to yourself. Be true. It's the only thing that these new kids don't always think about is truth to yourself. To thine own self be true. And I'm quoting Shakespeare. I love Shakespeare. I've met him on this side. He's a nice guy. He's not exactly who you think he is. But that's okay. Now I'm going to leave you. Maybe I'll come back. I don't know. But once again, thank you from the bottom of my heart to each and every one of you that loves Joan Crawford. My creation and who I am, the woman I've always wanted to be, and the woman I can finally love now. I hope on this Valentine's Day, it's true, that you can love yourself and create something that is true and that you can love. That's the real secret.